Good morning, friends of the channel. Today, we are lucky enough to have this beautiful piece, which is, indeed, my tub and all the rest. Clearly, it's a bit heavy for the kind of furnishings we're used to these days. And we've taken the opportunity to show you Alloro and Cannella. Sorry, Pina is a bit insistent today. She wants to play with Luigi. Alloro and Cannella, our patinas, which can be activated with alcohol, will be stunning on a structure like this, which is very ornate. And to make the finish even more elaborate, we'll do this beautiful stencil on the top part. It echoes the decoration on the table that's right here. So let's get started, and between one part of the job and another, we'll go and play with Pina otherwise. Yes, that's just how it is today. Let's start. We'll start with the textured stencil placed exactly where I like it. Obviously, I had to bring it down a bit because I can't have this part left empty, so I've made my stencil cover the whole area. Up to here, where the point ends. I'll stop it here because I'll only be taking the stencil up to this point. This way, I'll be even more confident. And now I'll let you in on the trick for making a textured stencil without any smudging, from top to bottom. Now I'll turn it round. And I'll work on the surface of the stencil from the top downwards. If you want to avoid smudging, that is, getting the texture paste underneath the stencil, it's important to always stick to this method of application. Materic Cream. I use this textured cream as it's soft and velvety. In other cases, we also use the Materic Touch. You know, it almost looks sandy. I pour it onto the stencil. This way I have a bit more of it. And now I will use my Cenerentola Spatula. It's an absolutely brilliant spatula. It's perfect for these uses because it leaves a slightly higher amount of paste on the surface, so it'll be thicker. And the stencil is very textured. Let's start spreading it. As you can see, I always start from the top and work my way downwards. Once you've filled all the sections of the stencil that you're interested in, move on. It is really important that you don't keep pressing down and going back and forth, because that is exactly when you run the risk of accidentally smudging it. Now I'm trying to tidy up all the areas where I can apply the textured paste, and then, as you can see, what I have achieved. It's a clever stencil because if you use it with paint, it's even more efficient in the sense that you don't have to wait for the stencil to dry completely because you can bring it closer. This way, you finish sooner since there are no edges. It's a stencil that we create ourselves directly at Magic Paint. We design it specifically to make application easier and even quicker. Now, I dry it a little with the hairdryer, just to speed up the drying process a bit. Then I wait a few moments, place the stencil on top, and carry on. This way, it'll be even quicker. Shall I show you how it looks? Voila! Absolutely spot on. Now we'll dry it and immediately reposition the stencil. Everything that's on the stencil, of course, doesn't go to waste. I put it onto a piece of card, gather it up, and put it back in the jar. We've already repositioned the stencil, even though, as I said, the first one isn't completely dry. This is the great thing about having a stencil like ours, is that it doesn't have a border, you see, which makes everything much quicker and easier. Quick and easy. We keep a bit of paste, the little spatula, and carry on. Emma is just holding up the stencil for me, so at least we don't get a little bump and we don't risk lifting it. We do the stencil, and look how lovely the join is. It's a real beauty. A stencil like this without a border really creates endless results. You have to trust me. What a beauty. My textured stencil is completely dry, and before starting to color, here's a little trick. To get rid of some of the little ridges from the textured paste, that could be annoying on the stencil. Since it's a surface where you can rest glasses and other things, I'm going to gently go over it with an abrasive sponge. I use my handpiece because it's effortless, it creates no dust and gives a lovely result. Put a piece of sandpaper underneath, 120 grit. I go over the whole surface, gently. By doing it in this, I'm carefully leveling out the stencil, which might have some slightly more raised points in certain areas compared to others. I'll also, of course, carefully do the side edge to remove all the little ridges from the texture paste and the stencil. And like this, the work will be truly uniform. It will always be very textured, of course. So don't worry, we're not removing the thickness. On the contrary, we need it. This is the result. The textured paste is extremely durable, so don't worry, it won't come off. With the abrasion from the sanding sponge, in fact, you're simply evening it out. At this point, for example, I can still see a few little bumps, so I level them out like this. It's an extremely tough paste that really allows us to create anything we want. When it comes to applying the paint, for small pieces of furniture, chairs or armchairs, you always start with the piece upside down, legs in the air. So I've already placed a piece of fabric on my bench. It will help me be even gentler, and we flip the little table over, legs wide apart. Help me, Emma. Voila! You need to apply the first coat of paint both from this side and from the other side. When it's turned the right way up, you'll finish everything off. This way, you make sure all the different carvings are properly filled in and there are no patches without color. That way, you can be really precise. To paint the base of this piece of furniture, before using Alloro and Cannella, we've chosen a fantastic shade. It's called Sunset Blue. It's a shade that goes well with both Alloro and Cannella. And I'm using these two very important brushes. Today, I need to achieve a lovely, textured surface, so pay attention. The paint is absolutely pure, not diluted in the slightest. I use the pointed brush to get right into the details of the decorations, and then this brush to smooth things out. Buy yourself this pointed brush, number 2 or number 4, it'll save your life, trust me. A circular motion is used to load the reservoir inside the brush. That's why they are so stubby. Then I gently offload the excess on the edges. I'm not sure if you realize straight away just how much it covers. Today we've got a piece of furniture made from really dark wood, so it's essential to have a very covering paint. Can you see how well it covers? Brilliant. So let's apply a nice, even, opaque coat everywhere with these two brushes. Emma, what do you think? You carry on with the pointed brush and I'll follow with the other. King brush, nice and chunky, which helps me cover generously and also gives a lovely textured brush stroke. Remember, drops are always our enemy, so watch out. We don't want to see any nasty drips around. Now that we've finished painting this side, let's turn our little table around and give the other side its first coat as well. That way, we can spot all the little problems. As you can see, the other side is painted, but on this side, there are loads of imperfections. And now let's paint this side as well. This way, we'll be nice and precise, and always keep an eye out for drips, mind you. We don't want any drips. Look how stunning the sunset blue looks on the tabletop. I work on the tabletop with the stubby brush, the King, and Emma starts working on the sides with the pointed brush. If needed, we also use a smaller brush to get into the little holes, because, if you look here, this really is a painstaking job. This edge is full of indentations, so you absolutely have to be precise. I load my brush well, tap off the excess, and off we go, mind you. When you're working on very textured surfaces like this, use brush strokes, either affectionate ones, crisscross, or circular movements. The important thing is to make sure you spread the paint well everywhere without creating any dips. This is very important. Firstly, because it saves you money, and secondly, because it makes things more efficient. And it turns out much better without overwetting a surface that doesn't need too much paint. What we're going to do now is apply Alloro and Cannella the way we want them. What I'd like to do is start from the center with the green, so with Alloro, and then move towards the sides and let a bit of Cannella slide along the edges. I'll do the same thing on the leg, starting at the top with more Alloro, then working down towards the bottom with more Cannella. How do I do this? I have to trust the product, because it's a process that activates itself. Little by little, after the patina is dried, and then when I go to activate it with alcohol. You must trust the product, because while unpredictable, it activates mechanically with alcohol. I'll stop there. After mixing, first Alloro, then some Alloro and Cannella, and pure Cannella on the edges to let it activate and flow with the alcohol. I'm using a king brush. I've already mixed it very well. Remember, it needs to be super blended. With the king brush, I go to the center and start to spread Alloro over the whole surface. As you can see, it's very liquid, but also very, very covering. And it looks really good on sunset blue. Remember that. The thicker it is, the harder it will be to open up with the alcohol. So it's also essential to understand how much to use. Look at the incredible coverage it has. It goes a really long way. Just imagine it on a wall. I'll stop for a moment, change cans, and get the Cannella. That one's already been stirred a lot as well. Make sure they're always nicely mixed, so that the pigments are blended together. I'll take some color. I'm just going to do the edge lightly. Here you can see the colors are starting to blend together a bit already. There will be greener areas and browner ones. That's normal, it's the first coat. Now, with the drained brush, what do? I go into the circle and try to blend the colors better, so they are less harsh, less sharp, and more blended. I add a bit more Cannella around the edges, because I want to emphasize this brown part more. Of course, I also make sure to blend the whole edge well. And now, with the help of a sponge, just a small piece of sponge. I'm going to do this bit here, because I don't like when there's a sharp contrast between Alloro and Cannella colors. I like them to be fairly well blended, as you can see. So I'll go ahead and blend the two shades so that it becomes almost a rusty color around the edges. Something else I'm going to do now in the center is add a bit more Alloro, because I want it a bit greener in the middle. But even here, I don't want to stick to just one solid, clean color. So yes, I'm going to blend my patina slightly. I'm also going to move the sponge around a bit, so that the finish still looks very natural. There shouldn't be a patch of green and a patch of brown. It's really not nice when there's this sharp, divided patch. I'm not mad about it. At least, not for the effect I'm after today. Before I do the leg, and I need to do it on my table because I want to see it up close, I'm going to let this part of the table dry really well. Because once it's completely dry, I'll activate it with alcohol, and this is where the magic begins. We've set up the GoPro here so it can slowly capture all the processes, because now I'm going to spray the alcohol and then, as it develops and dries, it changes. In just a few moments, because obviously alcohol evaporates very quickly, it's fast. But with this step, you'll be able to see it 100%. In this little sprayer, I've put some alcohol, 99 degrees Celsius, the classic stuff, pink denatured alcohol, and I'm going to spray it. Be careful, because if you spray it very finely and all over, it'll look like a sort of moving spider's web. If you make big drops, the paint cracks and opens up more. Just so you know, you can also use it like this, because there are some people who already like the patina as it is, without opening it up with alcohol. Spray bottle at the ready, off we go. You need a bit of patience, because depending on how it reacts, it changes. Just look here how it's already changing. I have to spray very gently, because since it takes a moment to open up, it's essential to give the patina time to react. Now I'll stop talking and let you admire the whole process. I'd like the base color to show through in some areas, so I might go over those spots with the alcohol. Stunning. I'll work on the edges and then let it dry on its own. I'll carry on and let Cannella and Alloro run down in different ways. I really like this dripping effect. It really helps me achieve an even more distinctive patina. I've sprayed on the base again and also given it a second coat on the main surface. Because the first spray of alcohol, which you saw in slow motion or at speed, depends on how Clarissa decides to do this tutorial, which she showed in the first part. If you want to intensify it, to bring out some of the background color, I wanted to bring out the sunset blue, which is wonderful, spray it again. It will definitely stay on the surface longer, corrode more, and therefore bring out the background color more. Now we're going to leave because it's late. It's 8 p.m. We'll leave it to rest, and tomorrow morning, when we arrive, we'll see. It will be a surprise. The patina with Alloro and Cannella is unpredictable. Just remember one thing. If you want to bring out the background color, it's very important. This is very important. You can already see, when you spray the alcohol, a little bit of the background color, this spectacular shade. Look how beautiful it is, where the brown and sunset blue blend with the green and create this amazing patina. Look how beautiful it is. Just with these patinas, you can do something like this. Fantastic. Wow. Well, let's go and have something to eat, and tomorrow morning we'll show you how it turns out. Goodbye. It rested all night. It has dripped as it should have, and an incredible shading has come out. Now I'm going to apply the Leggendaria wax to the surface, and bit by bit I'll also show you the whole leg, how it turned out. Look here, very beautiful, pure, smooth shades. They are not artificial, you can't see any blotches. One thing I don't like is when these patinas are made and you can tell they are fake, where there are blotches all over the makeover. When there are blotches where in some places you can see Alloro, in others you can see Cannella, as if it was sponged on, well, that's not pleasant for this reason too, because you can tell it's artificial. As you can see, in some spots you can glimpse the base color, sunset blue. In other areas you can see the fading of green and Cannella. Alloro and Cannella. You protect it with wax and it doesn't change. So remember, Alloro and Cannella, if protected with wax or, for example, with a matte or satin finish, absolutely do not change, they don't shift. Look, they stay exactly the same. I really love it, it's gorgeous. In some areas, obviously, where I sprayed less, the color of the patina will show through more. In the areas where I sprayed more, you can see more of the base color, because the alcohol has dissolved the patina. So it's up to you to decide which look you prefer. I'll protect the whole thing and then show you how it looks in its setting. I've shown it to you in context, and do you know why? Because I don't want to give the impression that patinas only work well in old houses. For example, here I've put it on a white rug for you, next to this beautiful armchair that Damiano made for me, to show you that they also look good with very light colors. Patinas, even with colors that are much more modern, more streamlined, a piece like this fits in perfectly. So it's up to you to decide what to create with Alloro and Cannella patina. You can create more antique or industrial patinas. For example, Cannella, if you wash it out a bit, gives a very distinctive effect. Try mixing them with Rug-In Magica for a fantastic result. Remember, you can find these products at magicpaint.it and from stockists, listed by region. On the magicpaint.it website, there's a search box. Just enter your postcode. And that way, you'll see all the shops that are nearby. It might be just beyond your region. Go to the seaside. Go and visit your stockists, who might even become your future favorites. Another thing, you know you won't find it on Amazon, not today, not ever. Goodbye.